Hello again and welcome to the Warhammer 40K Imperial Guard Tactics video. So before we get into today's video, as is tradition, I would like to say a big thank you to Bo Patrick Byron, I hope I am pronouncing that correctly, for some pictures of his Cadian Omega Brigade. That's very cool. It is the final force that the Cadian system produced prior to its fall. That's pretty cool. I'm liking the fluff here, boyo. It's very, very good. Yeah, thank you for sending in these pictures. I tell you what, I really like the glow effect that you've put on the plasma weapons. That is great. Although I've always thought something here. I mean, we're going to start off today's video with another tradition, which is Mordian Glory going off on a big old tangent. But I always thought, would plasma guns actually glow? Now hear me out, okay? Because think about it, in real life, you don't use weapons which like give away your position. Think about, we're talking like Marines, and we're talking like Scions. They're special forces. They don't want to have weapons that are giving away their position. Think of all the weapons that you see in like soldiers' hands. They don't glow. Why would you why would you want a weapon that big? So hello, I'm here. It's kind of searchlight. So I mean, don't get me wrong. This is 40k. And it doesn't make sense, and they don't even think about tactics. But it's always a question I've thought, which is, do plasma weapons actually glow? And the second thing which occurred to me the other day, whilst I was doing my big old hour-and-a-half commute to work, was, wouldn't lasguns actually be a really bad weapon to have for a lot of situations? Because yeah, obviously they're reliable and you put the new power cell in, but and the power cells are charged. But if it shoots like a laser beam, the enemy's going to really easily be able to identify your position. Whereas if you use like auto guns, I know you can look for like muzzle flash and stuff, but like auto guns, it can be a lot harder to find where that fire is coming from, I guess. Just the things to think about. I'm trying to think how the real world tactics would work. Who knows? Anyway, massive tangent. Basically, thank you, Bo, for sending in these absolutely fantastic pictures. Really love the paint scheme. Really love the effort you've put into the models. The female commissar executing that guy is grim, dark as fuck. I love it. If anyone else has any cool pictures they want to send in to me, please post them on my Facebook page. There will be a link down in the description below, and I will be more than happy to show off your amazing handiwork and your amazing paint jobs in my videos, because I love to give a little bit back to you guys. I love to show off you guys' hard work. Makes me feel really good seeing how dedicated the guard commanders are. Love it. Anyway, let's actually, we're 3 minutes into this video, we haven't even started talking about what we want to talk about, though we have covered a couple of interesting topics. What we're going to be talking about today is Colour Sergeant Jaron Kell. My boy. I love Colour Sergeant Kell. He's one of my favourite bits of fluff. He's a minor character, but I there's something about him. I think he's awesome. And he's one of the first models I ever owned. One of the first models. I still have my metal Jaron Kell. I still got my metal Jaron Kell. Original moulding. Now, spoiler alert, guys. For those of you that don't know, in the fall of Cadia, Colour Sergeant Jaron Kell was killed. He went 1-on-1 with a Baden. He didn't last very long. What would you expect? But thanks to his sacrifice, basically, the Cadians Creed was in his command bunker, organising the defence of Cadia, and Abaddon and his chosen Terminators somehow managed to deep strike into the command centre, started killing everyone. Kell managed to literally physically throw Creed onto like the final Valkyrie that was getting out of there, and then to buy enough time for Creed to get away, for the Valkyrie to get away, he turned around and fucking basically went at Abaddon. Obviously Abaddon just fucking took him to pieces in 1 second, but he picked him up, and just before he killed him, Jaron Kell was able to go, "Cadia stands," and spit in Abaddon's face. and then Abaddon was like, and then killed him. But fucking. Fortunately for us, 40k, the game covers many time periods, so you can still use Colour Sergeant Jaron Kell in your armies, and he's just good to represent any sort of hard ass motherfucker, or special banner bearer. He's just good for that kind of stuff. So now that we've covered up the fluff and why I think he's awesome, let's actually take a look and review Colour Sergeant Kell himself, because he has had some changes as per Chapter Approved. Chapter Approved really did make a lot of changes, didn't it? So he used to cost, pre-Chapter Approved, 50 points, which was okay. But now he only costs 45 points. And when you take into account that Creed costs 55 points, if you take the pair together, which you really should. If you take the pair together, then it will set you back 100 points, which is the same amount of points as Commissar Yarrick. So there's some interesting comparisons there. Now, what does your 45 points for investment get you? Well, you have your standard sort of character profile. You've got a 6-inch movement, 3+ to hit in close combat, 3+ to hit at shooting, strength 3, toughness 3. He's got 4 wounds, he's got 3 attacks, he's leadership 7, and he has carapace armor, and he's a 4+ save. Now, it should be said that Kell does not have an invulnerable save. He just has a 4+ save. So, bear that in mind. Now, he is a single model armed with a las pistol, a power fist, and a power sword. So that's pretty good. So when you think about it, if you take into account that you're paying 12 points for his power weapon equipment, you're only really paying 33 points for this guy, which is the same as a company commander, basically. So that's not too bad. And he's got the same stats as a company commander, except for rather than having a 5+ invuln, he just has a 4+ save. Okay, I can dig it. Now, when his last pistol's obviously a bit poo. Weirdly, he doesn't come with frag or crack grenades. Weirdly. I mean, looking at a lot of these things, I don't think many of the the platoon commander comes with frag grenades. When you think, actually, it's interesting. A lot of these random characters don't come with frag grenades. Like Yarrick does not come with frag grenades. Although, why would you ever? Lord Commissar doesn't come. He has a bolt pistol and power sword. So anyway, we're getting a bit off topic, but it's just interesting, isn't it? It doesn't come with any kind of grenades. But that's just so. The reason I mention that is for ranged attacks he only has a las pistol. You can't pull out a cheeky grenade. He just doesn't physically have any. Now, his abilities, he has 3. Okay, he has Colours of the Cadian 8th, which is his flag. He comes with the regimental standard, essentially. Friendly Cadian units within 6 inches of Colour Sergeant Kell may reroll failed morale tests. So he's like a commissar without having to execute people, which is nice. He also has an ability called Listen Up, Maggots. You can make 1 additional order with a single friendly Cadian officer within 6 inches of Colour Sergeant Kell in each of your turns. So he's like a platoon commander. So he's like a commissar and a platoon commander, as long as he's near another officer, which is interesting. And he has another ability which is a bit more specific. Swarm Protector. Roll a d6 each time Lord Castellan Creed loses a wound whilst he is within 3 inches of Colour Sergeant Kell. On a 2+, Lord Castellan Creed does not lose a wound, but Colour Sergeant Kell suffers a mortal wound. So he's like a bodyguard. He's like an Ogren bodyguard. So really, when you add it all together, he's an elite choice, by the way. He's not an HQ. But really, when you add it all together, he's probably quite worth his points. I mean, he's a bit of a close combat beast with his power fist. When he only hits on 4's power fist, he's still got that power sword. So he can go toe to toe in combat if he has to. He's not ideal, but he can do it. He's got a power fist. He's got a power sword. So he's got a bit of utility. He can make people around him reroll some morale tests, so that saves you that saves you 15 points on a commissar essentially. And although to be fair, you take commissars for the leadership 8, and it gives you an extra order. Now, where I see Kell being, he's not a competitive choice. He's not a non-competitive choice. He's not dog shit, but he's not 360 Pro Tour, MLG, whatever you want to call it, esports. He's just a decent character. Okay, he's decent. If you're playing a relatively normal friendly game, he's good. Now, if you wanted to take him to a tournament, you wanted to include him competitively, goes without saying that where he wants to be at home is in Firebase Creed. We've done a video on Firebase Creed recently. Go and check it out. But essentially, he wants to just be there boosting Creed. That's what he wants to be doing. Because don't forget, Creed, the young fella, me lad, also has a power sword, if I can find him. Anyway, Creed's also got a power sword. Oh, there he is. And he also has 3 attacks, and he also hits on 3. So between the two of them, they've got 6 power sword attacks, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. And Creed can do 3 orders at 12-inch range. Kell would allow him to do 4 inches at a 12-inch range. With superior tactical training, he's got an average of doing 6 orders. With inspired tactics, you are likely to get 7 orders off Creed if you take Kell and use a stratagem. That's a lot of orders. That's more than just Firebase Creed, That's a lot of orders. So bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. You could take 3 heavy weapon teams, 3 veteran squads, and a command squad. And you could give those that command squad some snipers and a regimental standard, which would make everyone around them +1 leadership. So then all your Cadians would be in Firebase Creed would be on a leadership 8 rerollable save thanks to Kell. So there you go. It's all about stacking up these combos, guys. So what do I think about Kell? I think he's great. For fun purposes, I think he's great. I'm going to start taking him because he's one I've not taken him in a long time, and I want to get my use out of him because he's been killed off by Games Workshop now. So I don't want them to remove him from the next codex if there is another codex. Might as well get my use out of him, and he's an absolute beast. You've got to start making. Sometimes we can be very focused competitive tactics, and that's absolutely the way you want to be. You want to win for the Emperor, but it's also important to make sure you're having fun. And the way you make sure you have fun is by sometimes setting aside 50, 100 points of your list, which you're going to dedicate to taking sort of fluffy options. And Kell is one of those options. He's still useful. He will still earn his points back, but maybe he's not as good as an infantry squad with a grenade launcher. Maybe he's not. Maybe he couldn't take one of those on, but he does other stuff. He has utility, he has purpose, and he's all right. It's an extra order. At the end of the day, this is one way to look at it. If you're going for maximum orders, if you're going that you want to go Cadian, okay? Because if you don't go Cadian, the maximum orders you can get is 10. You can get 3 company commanders, which do 2 orders each, 3 platoon commanders, and inspired tactics. 10 orders for your infantry squads. If you go Cadian, you can add another 3 onto that thanks to Creed, and you can add another 1 onto that thanks to Colour Sergeant Kell. Which means that's 14 orders, and you can get superior tactical training, which if you're doing it on Creed, you have a good chance of getting another 3 orders off. So you can get 17 orders off with Cadians. So there you go. Consider that, guys. Think about it. If you're going pure infantry, you kind of want to be taking some Cadians, don't you? For maximum order potential. There you go. And an important part of that is Colour Sergeant Kell, to bring it all back together. So what do you guys think? You guys out there who have run the Beastmaster himself, Kell, the absolute awesomeness that is Colour Sergeant Kell. What do you think? Is he worth it? Is he just fluffy? Is there any epic moments that you would not have been able to achieve without your honourable NCO, the Colour Sergeant. Tell us what you think. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.